I'm not a bicycle mechanic, so when I put this video together to keep it under 10 minutes, I had to time lapse some of the shots. But good luck. In step one, we choose and mount a dynamo bracket.
I'm going to show you how to mount your new Dynamo kit from Cantitoe Road. First thing we're going to do is mount the Dynamo. Two different mounting brackets. The first one, this is an FB bracket, and it's it's going to go on your brakes. It's going to mount here. The other one is a CS bracket. This one attaches to the fork blade. When it's assembled, it'll look like this. It will go around the fork blade, but as you can tell, this is a real fat one. This one wouldn't actually fit around there. So I'm definitely going to go with the brake mounted bracket. So to start, take this bolt out. And this bracket, I'm going to mount it on here. It's got to have it's going to fit along the fork, and it's going to keep it from wobbling. So my bracket's on there.
Step two, we mount the HR traction control dynamo.
Alright, we're going to mount this HR traction control dynamo. It's got the rubber wheel, which can run on the rim of the wheel or on the side of the tire. Just to make sure that the center of the dynamo is lined up with the center of the wheel. So, like if I had it off center, it's going to cause too much wear on the dynamo. So I just want to get that straight lined up. So it's mounted, and the dynamo, there's a side running. It clicks to engage, and that will generate electricity, and it clicks to disengage. So hopefully you can see the gap here.
Step three, mount the headlight.
Alright, next we're going to mount the, this is the Pilot Steady headlight. There's a positive and negative terminal on the back in the mounting bracket. There's two sizes. There's a short one, and there's also a long one. The short one's going to be fine on this guy. Just going to take the bolt out of the fork crown here. If your bike doesn't have a bolt already in the fork crown, you're probably going to have to go to your local bike shop and get one. Now it's mounted, and it's you can adjust up and down and tighten your bolt when you get it to where you want.
Step four, measure and cut the wire.
Alright, so the next step is I'm going to cut some wire. Make sure it's long enough to go from the dynamo to the front light. I don't need a whole lot, but I am going to want a little bit of extra. So, take a look here. Strip one end, and strip the other. Alright.
Step five, plug in the headlight and test.
Alright, for the next phase, I'm going to show you how to wire the dynamo to the front light. It's a double wire. One of them has a white stripe, one of them is all black. Positives on the left, negatives on the right side. This is the clip to do it. So positive, I'm always going to use the white stripe. I'm going to stick it through the hole and bend it down. Stick the negative through. Bend it down. And then this just plugs into the bottom of the dynamo. Alright, so next I'm going to plug in the headlamp, which has these little plastic plugs. The wire just kind of slips right through there. Positives on the left, negatives on the right. My positive was the white striped wire. I'm going to trim up this excess a little bit on here. Just going to plug them in. Alright, now that we got the plugs in, here, just going to go ahead and put the dynamo over on the wheel. And just to make sure, just give the wheel a spin. Sure enough, it comes on. So, front one's done. Alright, the last thing, the headlamp is once you get it adjusted, and get this bolt tightened, there's these little caps. And they just go on right over top like that.
Step 6. Mount seat post bracket for the rear light.
The next thing we're going to do is put on the rear seat post bracket. I'm going to start with this piece. There's some rubber strips in here. They're going to go inside of this, keep it from sliding around once we get the light on it. This is the race steady. The other one's the riff. As you can tell, these are set for 50 millimeters, and these holes on the bracket are for 80. So I got to move these bolts over. So to do that on the ray, I'm going to push in the bottom. It opens right up. Take those bolts, move them over. Clip it back in at the top. Push it down on the bottom. Push that back up. It's moved over. And this is going to go on. To put these bolts on.
Step 7. Attach the rear light.
Got the bolts on. Next I'm going to mount it onto the seat bracket. And this is going to just clip right on top of here. Like that. Tighten that screw down. And we're good.
Step 8. Run wire to the rear light and tape to frame.
I'm going to route the remaining wire from the front dynamo to the rear light. Just want to make sure I have enough. Every bike frame is a little different, so you have to find your own best way to route it. I'll end up just taping it to the frame. There's these little metal clips. Just push it in, and there's a hole. You slide the wire through the hole, and you let go. And again, positives on the left, so there's my white one, negatives on the right.
Step 9. Plug in rear light and test.
Alright, the final step here is I'm going to take my plug out of the front dynamo. I'm going to put in the taillight wires. White stripe, positive left. Put it through there. And a solid black on the right. I put it through. Bend those down. Plug it back in. Twist this over. We'll give it a spin. Front light still comes on. And the tail light totally comes on, so we're good. Typically, if you set it up and you go to spin the wheel and the tail light doesn't come on, then the wires are wrong. So you just unplug these, switch them, plug them back in, and then both lights will come on. Make sure you test it with each light that you plug in. So that's why I did the headlamp first, and I tested to make sure it came on. Then I did the tail lamp and tested, and both of them came on, so I'm good. And we're done with the installation.
You can purchase your own human-powered dynamo kit from CantitoeRoad.com.